Hello, everyone. I'm Paul Peterson, and I am delighted, honored, and honestly a little surprised to be making this announcement. But welcome to the Great British What? That? But I thought it's got jam in the title. Oh no, no, that makes a lot more sense. Jeremy, can we just cut this and I'll do another intro? I'm Paul Peterson, and you may know me from some of my games such as Guillotine and Smash Up and Pairs and many other games. And I am honestly delighted that I've been asked to make this introduction and to give you some tips about what you can do during Board Game Jam Tel Aviv to make the best possible game you can. I'm very jealous that you are all there, hundreds of people making board games today. I love those kinds of opportunities, and I love working with other designers to make something really cool. And I've been asked to give you some advice from my vast pool of knowledge over the years. You're doing a game jam. You only have a day to do it, so obviously the best advice is work fast. Get your brainstorming out of the way if you don't have an idea already. There are no bad ideas in a brainstorm, but I would definitely recommend that you not try to make a Twilight Imperium clone in this period of time. You're probably not going to get a single test in. Try to make a simple game that you can play a lot of times. You're going to want to test early and test often. And by test early, I mean make a prototype very quickly. Just write some things down on some cards, make a quick board if that's what you're doing, and start testing immediately and test the sort of the smallest possible version of the game, because you're going to want to find out whether it just doing the basic actions in the game are fun. You'll be building up as you go to make the more complex interactions, and just don't worry about balance at that early stage. What you want to know is whether just performing the basic action is fun. If it's a word game, is assembling words from whatever components, is that fun for the players? If it's a board game, is moving around and making choices on the board fun? It doesn't matter whether it's balanced at this point. It's important for these tests that in each of the tests you are answering a particular question. For early tests, as I said, it's just about, is the flow going well? Are interactions going well? But as you move forward, have something in mind, have something that you're testing. We like to say a question. Is this particular mechanic working well? Early on, that's the core mechanic, but later it'll be, does it work well when somebody lands on another player and they interact? Do we each know what we're doing on our turns? Do we go from turn to turn naturally? And are we all engaged on each turn? Are players enjoying it when they discard cards? Things like that. And then you can run a test that answers this question. As you go, it will be important that you do finish an entire game once you feel that the structure of the game, the basic structure of the game, is there. Then it will be important to play through the entire game. And even if you partway through come to a realization that something needs to change, there can be value in going all the way through it, especially in later, because every part of the game needs to be tested, and the end scoring needs to be tested, and that's only going to happen if you actually make it all the way through the game. Another principle I like to say is test strong, especially early. Like I said, doesn't have to be balanced early, and in fact, it's probably more valuable to you to test a particular mechanic or a particular card in an unbalanced but strong version to see what happens when people play it. It might be very valuable for you to find another team nearby that is at a point where they'd love to see somebody else test the game and just swap games, teach each other how to play, and then play a session of each other's game and get some feedback. You're probably going to want at least one member of each team to be watching the other team play, because that's where you're going to get really good data. You could also save a lot of time, which you don't have too much of, by just swapping games and having like one observer say, here's what we're doing. Could you play through and think very strongly about, does it feel like the game's taking too long, or we're really concerned about the how powerful card destruction is in this. Let us know what you thought about that particularly, as well as the game in general. Definitely having more eyes on your game can certainly really help you with a specific problem, and in general just give you more information. So you've got a problem in the game, and you want to fix it, it's almost always easier to fix it by taking something out of the game than it is by adding something on top. You're like, oh, we really don't like the interactions between this thing and this thing. You know what would help is if we added another rule on top that says that makes that interaction more complex. It can help you in some examples, but the first thing to try would be to take something away and say, well, is the interaction not working because people don't understand it? Well, that's a great example of when you should take something away. Well, I hope my tips have been useful to you, and I hope you guys have a lot of fun, because that's really what this is about. It's about learning how to make games, much more than it is about coming out of this with an amazing game. I certainly hope that happens, but more than that, I hope that you guys, that this makes you better game designers and better able to make games in the future. Thank you very much, and good luck.